पन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः. Pranams everyone. So we are in fourth chapter, Sloka number 24. Shri Bhagavan uvacha Brahmarpanam Brahma havihi Brahma-agnau Brahmana hutam Brahmaiva tena gantavyam Brahma-karma samadhina. So this chapter is about Jnana karma sannyasa, and Bhagavan had been talking about Jnana karma sannyasa from Sloka number 18 onwards. And in this Sloka, Sloka number 24, he concludes the topic. Jnana karma sannyasa is about renouncing the actions through knowledge. 18th Sloka was a very important Sloka where Bhagavan talked about a Jnāni is the one who is able to see inaction in action. And then from then onwards, Bhagavan said all Jnāni's actions are also to be considered to be part of inaction, as in Jnāni doesn't act. And any action that he does not give out any papa or punya. Then here in this last Sloka of this section, Sloka number 24, this is also an important Sloka, and it has got deep philosophical meaning, and it has got some, we have to understand it with some bit of grammar and Vedantic techniques, Vedantic analysis techniques. Okay, so here Bhagavan says, first for that to understand, first we have to understand what is karma. Karma is all actions that are performed by the body and mind, and according to karma theory, whatever actions we perform, we will get the phalam of it. We will have to face the consequences of it, whether it is good or bad. That is the general understanding of karma theory, and that is true at all levels for everyone. So which means one's papa or punya does not get transferred. So sometimes we say it is because of my sins my sons or daughters are suffering. That is not happening. That doesn't happen. Everybody comes with their own papa and punya bundle, and any papa or punya has to be experienced for it to be exhausted. We cannot run away, we cannot escape from it. But having said that, there is an exception, and that exception is in the case of a Jnāni. The karma that, or the action that the Jnāni performs, it gets burnt without being experienced. The action gets dissolved without giving phala. How does that happen? We were doing a small vichara in the last class. We saw that the world to be made of three things: kāraka, kriya, phalam. Kāraka meaning the cause of or the action, and the kārakam, there are about 6 kārakas that are involved normally, which includes the karta, as in the person who does. Then there has to be a karma, which is an object in this case. Then karana, instrument. Then sampradana, apadana, adhikarana, we saw. And that results in a kriya. Kriya meaning action. So kāraka janya kriya. Kāraka results in an action. And that action, once it is performed, it results in a phala. So kriya janyam phala. So this karaka, we saw them to be 6. One is karta, we saw, doer. The another is karma, which is the action or object. It's not the action, but it is the object, we say. And then karanam is the instrument. Then sampradhanam is the recipient. And then apadanam is the source. And then adhikaranam is the location. The adhishtanam, we say adharam. At least one of these karakas should be present for an action to be considered as an action. All the 6 need not be there, but 1 or 2 at least should be there. At least the karta should be there. There has to be an action, there has to be a karta. Now in this sloka, Bhagavan says that a Jnāni does not see this world with a kāraka-buddhi. So the Jnāni does not see any of the action in this world to be coming out of these 6 karakas. He does not see them as karakas. He does not see the karakas. He does not see the 6 different karakas. There is no bheda buddhi in him. What does that mean? He does not see anyone as a karta. He does not see objects. He does not see instruments. He does not see location. He does not see the source. Whereas for us, we always have this kāraka-buddhi. He has done it. I have received it. All those things, we are able to always see this with a bheda buddhi. Now, because a Jnāni does not see the karakas, then there is no question of any karma. And because there is no karma or kriya, there will not be any phalam also. And we saw how do we consider a Jnāni's action. In the last class, we gave a couple of examples. One, like a person who is sleeping suddenly kicks. Now the sleeping person does not realize that he or she has kicked. So it cannot, in this case there is no kāraka-buddhi, and therefore there is no kriya. That action will not result in any punya or papa. We saw another example how for the fan to be circulating it needs electricity, but even after the electricity, the switch is off, the electricity is cut off, still the fan circulates for a while. In the same way, before Jnanam, a Jnāni's actions are like when the fan is connected to the electricity, so he is doing the actions. All the actions produce results. But once he gets the Jnanam, all his actions are like the fan that is circulating even after the switch has been turned off. Jnāni's actions after getting Jnana are without any kāraka-buddhi. We saw this burnt cloth. So a cloth is there. Once it is burnt, it does not give the same result as the cloth. In the sense, it should be able to wipe things, it should be able to clean things and all those things. Now the cloth will not be able to do the same result as what it was before it was burnt. In the same manner, even after Jnana, so for the Jnāni, after he gets the Jnana, because of his prārabdha, he will have to do certain actions. So those are like the switch has been turned off, but there is still the fan is circulating. So his jnana has got, but because of prārabdha he will continue to do actions, but they are not coming out of kāraka-buddhi. The fan is not rotating because of electricity. And therefore those actions do not give papa or punya. This is what we had seen until last class. Now what this sloka is for is, we should not forget it. That's what we are discussing now. As in, how come or why does the actions of Jnāni do not give rise to papa or punya? This is the reason. The reason for Jnāni is, Jnāni does not say, I am karta, I am the person who does the action. He doesn't have that buddhi, he doesn't have that kāraka-buddhi. And therefore Jnāni's actions, because it comes without any kāraka-buddhi, it does not bind him, it does not create papa or punya. Now, to establish what is Jnāni's mindset in terms of these kārakas, how does he perceive an action, and how does he actually negate all the kārakas and see them as one, has to be established by Bhagavan, and that is established by Bhagavan through an example here. And the example that he has taken here is Yajña or Yaga. Because in those days, the most popular kriya or action was the Yajña or a Yagam. And in fact, in the coming slokas, what Bhagavan is going to do after this sloka, after this 24th sloka, Bhagavan is going to take Yajña as an example and relate that with all the sadhanas, or relate all sadhanas with a Yajña as if it's an Yajña. That we will see in the coming slokas. Now in this sloka, what he does, he takes the Yajña as an example. And for performing an Yajña, there are various things that constitute an Yajña. He picks a few of those, which are basically the kārakas. A few kārakas he picks up, and he says that a Jnāni will not see them differently. A Jnāni will not have a bheda bhava. A Jnāni will see all those kārakams as Brahman. So here Bhagavan picks up 5 things. Basically, in this sloka, 4 kārakas he picks, and he also takes the benefit, the phala. He takes the benefit and he discusses them. So the 4 things that he takes are, one is the karta, the doer. Then the second thing he takes is the karma, which is the object. Then the third thing he takes is the karanam, or the instrument. And then the 4th one he takes is the adhikaranam, which is the adharam. And then of course the 5th one is the phalam, or the benefit he takes as well. So when it comes to this Yajña, we talked about karta, karma, karanam, adhikaranam. Who is the karta? Who is the karta, or what is the karta? For an Yajña, the karta is the Yajamanan. The Yajamanan, the one who sits and takes the sankalpa, he is the Yajamanan. He is the karta. Then what is the karma object? The object is basically the havis, or the oblation that we offer into the agni kunda. The havis or havihi, that is the object, karma. Then the karanam. The karanam is the instrument. The instrument is normally the ladle that we use for offering the havisi into fire. The havisu can be a ghee, can be some fruits, can be coconut, can be anything. Whatever we offer it into the fire. So the karanam is ladle. Here Bhagavan calls it as arpanam. In this sloka he calls it as arpanam. The action of yajna is also called as arpanam. We are offering. Here Bhagavan is calling the ladle as arpanam. Then the fourth one, the last one, adhikaranam. The adhikaranam, we can either take the agni as the adhikaranam, as the adharam, or we can take it to be the homakunda, that also as the adhikaranam. Or rather the place where we offer the havis is adhikaranam. So it can be either agni devata or homakunda. So these four kārakas have been taken in this sloka. We can actually bring others also, but Bhagavan hasn't brought. For example, sampradhanam. Sampradhanam is basically for what purpose? So we can say that devata to whom we perform could be sampradhanam. But that Bhagavan is not talking about that. But Bhagavan is talking about the benefit. The benefit of normally, a benefit of an yajna is based on the sankalpa we take at the beginning. Because that is where we call out what we want out of this yajna. But in generally, the benefit of any prayer is we can take it to be swarga. Swarga means heaven. So here we can take swarga as an example. And so Bhagavan says, these kārakas are the cause for all kriyas, and any kriya that has been caused by a kāraka will create bondage, will create papa or punya. But if a kriya takes place without a kāraka, then it cannot create bondage. So Bhagavan takes these yajnas as an example, and he will call out these kārakas and then says, what does the Jnāni see? The Jnāni does not see these as kārakas. The Jnāni is seeing them as Brahman. He is having a Brahma-Drishti. He will see everything as Brahman. What the world sees as kāraka, Jnāni sees that as Brahman. So he sees the Yajamanan as a Brahman. He sees the havihi as a Brahman. He sees the ladle or the arpanam as the Brahman. He sees agni as Brahman. And he also sees the swargaloka, that is the benefit, also as Brahman. What does having a Brahma-Drishti mean? What is the benefit? That we will see it later. We will do vichara on that later. Here, what is Bhagavan trying to establish? Bhagavan is trying to establish that and he does not have a kāraka-buddhi. He has only a Brahma-buddhi. He does not have a Dvaita-buddhi. He only has a Advaita-buddhi. We could take many examples, but Bhagavan has taken Yajña as the example. We can even take eating food as an example. And that can also be considered as an yajna. We can say it's a prāṇa agnihotram. If somebody is having food and they say, what is happening? Prāṇa agnihotram. Because we are actually offering the food for the jatara agni which is present in the stomach. And we are offering that as an oblation. So that can also be called as an yajna. You can say prāṇa agnihotram. Anyway, so now, and there what happens is, when you are having a food, who is the karta? The person who is eating is the karta. What is the karma or the object? The food that we eat, the havis, the food we eat. In the case of yajna, it is havis. Here it is the food we eat. The karanam, there in the yajna we use ladle. Here we can say we use this hand, or we can even use say the mouth as the havis, as the karanam. Then adhikaranam is where it is the adhikaram, where is the adharam. Here also we can say two. One is where are we seated on? We are seated on a mat in a floor, so that is the adhikaranam. Or we can say it is being offered to the jatra agni which is present in the stomach. So that is the adhikaranam. And what is a phalam? Phalam in this case is removal of hunger. So that is a benefit. Although it is temporary, it still gives the benefit. And that is why whenever a Brahma-Jnāni sits to eat, he chants this sloka. Brahma arpanam, Brahma havihi, Brahma agno, Brahmana hutam, Brahma ivatena gantavyam, Brahma karma samadhina. That is to say that I do not have any dvaita vyavahara. I am Brahman. The food I eat is Brahman. The hand I use is Brahman. The place where it reaches is Brahman. The benefit I get, it is Brahman. So even in the case of eating, the Jnāni does not have a dvaita buddhi. So too in the case of all actions, including Yajña. There are no kārakams. So we'll see the sloka now. Brahma-arpanam, Brahma havihi, arpanam Brahma. But anyway, talking about food, when we actually eat everything to be Brahman, we cannot chant this sloka and then say the food is less salt or too spicy and all those things. Once we have said it is Brahma-arpanam, Brahma havihi, Brahma, everything is Brahman. So we cannot complain on anything after that. That we should remember. So now coming to the sloka, Brahma-arpanam, Brahma havihi, arpanam Brahma. The ladle is Brahman. When I say this is that, the ladle is Brahman. So we are equating ladle and Brahman, or here Brahman and arpanam. Okay. Now we can do a small vichara here. So when we say Brahma arpanam, what it means is the ladle is false, Brahman is the truth. Or when we equate this, this is called as Bhadayam samanadi karanyam. Bhadayam samanadi karanyam means there is a negation. We negate one and we equate it with the other. So Brahma arpanam Brahma. Arpanam is false, Brahman alone is truth. It's, for example, we take the rope snake example. When we say that snake is rope, does it mean there are two things, snake and rope, and both are same, both are there? We say no. That snake, you will have to negate it. It is not present anymore. What remains, what is there is rope. That is how we should understand this. So this arpanam is false, what remains is only Brahman. There is another way of equating. For example, I am saying that person is Shiva. His name is Shiva, for example. That person is Shiva. That means there we are actually equating both are one and the same. That is not as Bhadayam samanadi karanyam. Samanadhikaranyam is not there. There, both are one and the same. Whereas when we say snake is rope, snake does not exist, rope alone remains. Similarly, in the Mahavakyam, we have Tat Tvam Asi. Tvam Tat Asi. You are that. When we say Tvam, Tvam Tat, you are that. That Tvam, which refers to this body and mind, you will have to negate it and you will have to equate yourself to that Tat, which is the Tattva, Brahma Tattva, Atma Tattva. That is again negation and equation. Whereas when I say Aham Brahma Asmi, this is the equal, both are same. Aikyam. Here we can say Aikyam Samanadhikaranyam. Aikyam Samanadhikaranyam means both are same. Aham, I am Brahman. Whereas when I say Tvam Tattasi, it becomes Bhadayam Samanadhikaranyam. So here when we say Arpanam Brahma, Arpanam has to be negated, Brahman alone remains. So the Arpana Buddhi is removed, the Brahma Buddhi alone remains. It is replaced by Brahma Buddhi, Brahma Vision. Another example of Aikya Samanadhikaranyam, we can say, Anatya Samanadhikaranyam, we can say, Jiva Brahman Asti. So Jiva means the Jivatma, Atma is also Brahman, Brahman is also Brahman. So that is also Aikya Samanadhikaranyam. But when we say Arpanam Brahma, Brahma Arpanam, there we'll have to do a negation. We'll have to see the abhava of Arpanam and say there is only Brahman that remains. So the Jñānis do not have the vision of the Karanam. When we say vision, it does not mean that Jñāni will have a separate set of eyes and he will only see Brahman everywhere. It is a through knowledge that he sees them as one. From the eye standpoint, if somebody sees everything as only one, then that person has to go to the doctor. It is not the same from an eye standpoint. When we say vision, from an understanding standpoint, he has clearly understood that there is nothing, there is Arpanam, everything is Brahman. Whereas for the Ajñanis, we do not have this Brahma-Drishti. We see the ladle as ladle. And we do not consider that to be Brahman. We have this Bheda Buddhi. We see the Karakas. And therefore for us the Kriya is real. Now the same concept we can actually apply in the other words, pairs of words also. Brahma Arpanam, Brahma havihi. Havihi is what we offer as oblation. Ghee, whatever we offer. Now Bhagavan says, havihi is also Brahman. So when an Ajñāni performs an Yajña, he'll say, I performed this Yajña. So the Karta becomes real. And I offered 5 kgs of ghee for this Yajña. So the 5 kgs becomes the real and 5 kgs is the havis. Whereas for a Jñāni, havihi Brahma, Brahma havihi. Now Brahma Agnau. Brahma Agnau means into the fire which is Brahman. The Jñāni sees fire as Brahman. What is seen as Adhikaranam by Ajñānis is Brahman for a Jñāni. Then Brahmana hutam. Hutam here, Yajamanan is Brahman. Yajamanan himself is Brahman. Karta itself is Brahman. So Brahmana hutam. Brahma arpanam, Brahma havihi, Brahma agnau, Brahmana hutam. The ladle is Brahman. The offering is Brahman. It is offered into the fire of Brahman by Brahman. So what happens when someone does an activity? Normally when somebody does an activity, we get the kartrutva bhava, kartrutva buddhi. Once we do something, we achieve something, our ahankara goes up. Every time we achieve something, our ahankara goes up. I have done this. I am capable of doing this. I will be able to do this. I have done these things in those days itself. We keep saying. This ahankara keeps strengthening. And for Jñāni, this I did this activity for this purpose, using this person, using this object, whatever. So the kāraka-buddhi of an Ajnāni is always evident. But for a Jñāni, he does not have a kāraka-buddhi. He never claims that I have done it. He sees everything as Brahman. He sees whatever that needs to be done, I am just doing it because that is what is meant to be done, and it is not done by me. If there is no me, there is only one, by Brahman alone. And I am Brahman, but that is everywhere. That's how he understands. And Jnāni does not have a dvaita buddhi. There is no second thing for him. He understands Brahman to be advitiyam. There is only one. So that is the first line. Now next line, Brahmaiva tena gantavyam. So what is the phalam of this yajna? The benefit of this yajna is Swargaloka, we can say. Here Bhagavan says, Brahma eva gantavyam. Brahman alone is to be reached. Brahmaiva gantavyam tena. Tena means by him. Brahman alone has to be reached by him. So what needs to be attained? Brahman, not Swarga, not Arthakama. Brahman alone. So Brahmaeva gantavyam tena Brahma-karma samadhina. This is the lakshana given for a Jnāni. The adjective given to the Jnāni. Brahma-karma samadhina. There can be two interpretations to it. Brahma-karma samadhina. The first one is, he sees Brahman in every action. Samadhina means he has that vision. Samadhi here means the vision. So we can say he has Brahma-Drishti in all actions. He sees Brahman in every action. Karma is action. Samadhi is vision. So he sees Brahman, he has a Brahma-Drishti in all actions. So if we translate the last line, Brahman alone is reached by him who sees Brahman in every action. That is one interpretation. The second interpretation, Brahma-karma samadhina, is his action is to see Brahman in all, or his duty is to see Brahman in all, in everything. Sarvasya Brahma matra darshanam Brahma karma. As in, there can be different duties for every individual. But what is the duty of a Jnāni? Jnāni's duty is to see Brahman in all his actions, all duties. In everything he sees only Brahman. Here samadhi means he is established in the duty. Or in other words, he is determined by the duty to see Brahman in everything. So if you have to translate the last line, Brahman alone is to be reached by him who is determined that his duty is to see Brahman in all. So his duty is to see Brahman in all. Brahma-karma samadhina. Or another meaning is, he sees Brahman in every action. That is another meaning. So the essence of this sloka is basically to remove this dvaita prapancha. This prapancha is, we see it as dvaitam, but to understand that this is only a superimposition on Brahman, and what is there is only Brahman. Brahma Matra Darshana. That is the essence of the shloka. So the whole world, as I said in the last class, we can see the world in different ways. We can see the world to be prapancha. Prapancha is what? Pancha. It's made of panchabhutas. Prapancha. It's panchabhutas. So we can say the world is made of panchabhutas and therefore prapancha. Or we can say the world is actually a mixture of sattva, rajas, tamas. The world is actually a mixture of dvandvas. Here we say the world is nothing but kārakas. And if the kārakas have to be removed, if the kārakas will have to be removed, the vision of Brahman is established. This is the essence or purport or the takeaway from this shloka. So Bhagavan concludes this Jnana Karma Sannyasa topic here. Now, Ashish, just give me a 1 moment. I'll finish the shloka. There is one more misinterpretation that is possible in this shloka. We'll complete that and I'll come back to you. This shloka can also be misinterpreted. Because some people say, certain things we visualize. We visualize some things as Devata, as Ishvara, or as Brahman. We do it for the purpose of meditation. For example, we say Mano Brahmeti Upasita. That is, meditate upon the mind as Brahman. So we are here when Shastra says Mano Brahmeti Upasita, it does not say that the mind is Brahman. It says meditate upon the mind as if it is Brahman. So we use a linga to meditate or worship. For example, we use a lingam to meditate upon Shiva Bhagavan. We use a saligrama to meditate upon Bhagavan Vishnu. So here it does not mean that that so-called Jadavastu, that lingam or that saligramam, is actually Bhagavan Shiva or Bhagavan Vishnu. We use that as what we call in Shastric terms as alambana. It's a support for meditating upon Ishvara, meditating upon the Devata. So that is only a lingam or a support that we use when we say visualize or equate something with others. So this is also one kind of samanadikaranyam, but this is used in Shastras. So some say, why can't this sloka also be taken as a sloka for meditation? Meditate upon Brahma arpanam, the arpanam as Brahman. Meditate upon the havihi as Brahman. Meditate upon this hutam, the Yajña as Brahman. But do not remove them. It's only use them as an alambanam, as a support, and meditate upon Brahman. That is their interpretation. In the same way, just like a stone lingam cannot be Shiva, but we can use the lingam for meditating upon Bhagavan Shiva. The both remain. Shiva, Bhagavan also is there, lingam is also there, both are same. We are not removing one from the other. Whereas here we are saying we remove the arpanam, retain Brahman alone remains. Now for this, Shankaracharya gives us a response. He says, yes, it can be interpreted in this manner, provided this sloka has come in the upasana param. There are sections of sloka in Bhagavad Gita where there is Bhagavan talks about upasanas. And if the sloka has come in that area of Bhagavad Gita, we can take that to be upasana param, as in it's supposed to be meditated upon. But this sloka has come in the topic of giving us the right knowledge of seeing inaction in action. Jnana karma sannyasa. It has come in, the sloka has come in the place within the topic of, for us to see the inaction in action, and for us to get that knowledge. And it is not meant for meditation. And therefore, we should not interpret the sloka in this manner, that is, in a manner where it is to be seen as a lingam for meditation. Rather, it should be seen as a sloka that is giving us Brahma-Drishti. Now, this is Shankaracharya's answer to that misinterpretation, or rather wrong interpretation, possible wrong interpretation. Now, there is another wrong interpretation that could also be, that will also happen. There is another reason why people could see this sloka differently, and that is, say for example, someone sees a pot. What will be in his mind? When he sees a pot, he will get the pot thought. We call it as ghata-buddhi. Ghata means pot. The ghata-buddhi. The thought is of pot now. Now another person comes and tells that this pot is made of clay. Clay is the cause of the pot. Now he gets another buddhi, the clay buddhi, the clay thought comes. So now in the case of pot, he has two buddhis. Ghata buddhi, clay buddhi. Pot buddhi, clay buddhi. In the same manner, some people say, there is this havihi, there is Brahman. So there are two buddhis. You have havisa buddhi also, you have Brahma buddhi also. How can this be Advaitam? So previously it was just ghee. Now you see ghee as well as Brahman. You get both thoughts. How can you negate the ghee thought and bring only the Brahman? Previously I saw him as Yajamanan. Now I see him as Yajamanan as well as Brahman. Now the answer for that is, for a Jnāni, after he gets Jnana, he does not have two Satya Buddhis. As in, once clay is introduced, the moment you say, okay, that pot is made of clay, okay, that means the pot is unreal. The reality is clay. One is mithya, the other one is satyam. So he will have only one Satya Buddhi. The other Buddhi is Mithya Buddhi. The Mithya Buddhi remains, but it is not Satyam. I will not take that to be real. There can be only one Satya Buddhi. The example that we can see in our life is, on a hot day when we are traveling, we will be able to see some kind of a mirage where we see kind of a stream of water. Especially in desert, it's possible that people get fooled into it, that they see that as if it's actually a stream of water. But once they reach there, we get this knowledge that it is actually a mirage. Now, when you go back, you can still see the water, as in there is a water image as well. You have that water buddhi as well, but you also know that it is sand. So there is a mithya buddhi and there is a satya buddhi. So in the same way, after getting jnana, the dvaita will be seen as unreal, mithya. The underlying Brahman is to be seen as the truth. And therefore, what we say is, here it is not two Satya Buddhis, one is Mithya, one is Satyam, and therefore Brahma eva Advaitam. Everything else is just a name and form. This is the essence of this sloka, and this concludes the section on Jnana Karma Sannyasa. which we know started from Sloka 18. Atma akarta, Atma abhokta. Atma is never in action, which means I am never in action. Anatma is always in action. And how do we renounce this karma? When we say karma sannyasa, we don't renounce the actions. We cannot renounce this body or mind. We cannot renounce the actions of the body or the mind also. Body and mind can never remain inactive. It will continue to be performing actions. And also we cannot renounce Atma's actions also, because Atma was never active. We can never say this table has stopped talking to me. The table has never started talking for it to stop. So Atma's actions cannot be renounced, because Atma never performs any actions. So what we need to do, through knowledge, we must renounce actions. We should say, I the Atma, I am actually inactive, but I superimpose the actions of the body and the mind over myself, and therefore I consider myself to be the performer of these actions. But I have this knowledge. Through this knowledge, I separate the action and inaction. I renounce the claim that I am the person acting. I own myself to that Atma, which is never active. So that is how we have to serve. And that's why, because we do not understand these properly, if we get some responsibilities, we get stressed over it and we get caught up in samsara. What we have to realize is, this body or mind can never be at peace. The mind will never be at peace at all times. The body will never be healthy at all times. So how can we see peace? Through the knowledge that I am that peace behind that body. That body which is active at some times, seems to be at rest at some times, but is always in the state of action. I am that inactive self behind that peace. I am that inactive self behind those body. And I am not related to the responsibilities that the body or the mind gets. I am the Sakshi Swarupa behind the actions of the body and mind. We have to keep remembering this. Only through this knowledge, one can get moksha. Now in this chapter, Bhagavan has actually closed the topic of Atma Tattva. Atma Tattva we will continue to see Atma Tattva in the coming chapters also. But in this chapter, Bhagavan has finished this Atma Tattva in this chapter completely. The next sloka, we will see it in the next class, but we will take questions. Ashish ji?
Guruji, right in the beginning, what we started with, my question, or rather my doubt is related to that. Actually, I remember when we had started this study of Bhagavad Gita, there was initially in the first couple of chapters we discussed this, that once you attain Jnana, i.e. you become a Jñāni, all your karma phala balances are wiped out. But right now, if I heard you right, what you were mentioning is that Jñāni still goes through having to perform karmas as per the sanchit karma, or prārabdha-karma, as per the prārabdha-karma. So what you're saying is, I mean, is it akin to, is it similar to what we know as inertia, that a body is in motion, you have managed to take all energy out of it and has no real reason to create any further motion, but the existing motion, the existing inertia is causing it to continue going through the process. Is that what it means?
Correct. Very correct. That is one way to understand. So when there is one way, when we said that Jnana is karma, so there are three types of karma, right? One is prārabdha-karma, the other one is sanchita karma, the third is agami karma. The sanchita karma is the bundle of karmas that each one has, which is a huge bundle which we have accumulated over millions and zillions and trillions of lives that we have taken. Now, from that sanchita karma bundle, a portion of it is plucked out and is given as prārabdha karma for us to exhaust in this life. Now, this prārabdha karma decides the kind of body that I have, the kind of parents I will have, the kind of upbringing that I will have, the life, the age until which the body will be there. Most of the things in this life are already predetermined by this prārabdha karma, which is being given for this body to exhaust, the mind to exhaust, for this jiva to go through. Then the agami karma is the karma that is actually picked up by this jiva by doing actions in this current life. By doing actions in this current life, every action produces a karma phala which goes into this agami karma. Now, what Shastra says, once a person gets Jnana, the prārabdha karma has to be exhausted. You don't have a choice. Everybody, because it's like as you said, the inertia, the motion that has been already propelled. Once the arrow leaves the bow, you can't stop it. It has to go and hit it. So that is prārabdha karma. It has already been released. It has to be exhausted, irrespective of whether you get Jnana or not. Then the sanchita karma is burnt. There is no more sanchita karma for a Jnani, so there is no rebirth for a Jnani. The agami karma is not even created, because the Jnani does not have this kāraka-buddhi. The Jnani does not do anything for the body or the mind. He does what the prārabdha makes him to do things, and that's it. And that's all. He does not own up to the actions, and therefore the agami is not even created. So that is how Shastras define, how or Shastras say how the karmas work once a person gets Jnana.
This is truly beautiful, actually. That's truly beautiful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If not, again, we will see in the next class, we will see Sloka number 25 onwards.
So Guruji, sorry, before you finish, so this Sanchita Karma is such a huge bundle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Prārabdha Karma and Sanchita Karma are slightly different. Sanchita Karma is such a big bundle.
Yeah.
And how does it, like, once Jnani achieves that, the complete Jnanam, what happens to Sanchita Karma? It dissolves itself?
Yes, it gets burnt. It is like that burnt seed. It doesn't produce any more results out of it. That Sanchita Karma gets...
Okay, irrespective of you only brought a small portion of that Sanchita Karma, irrespective of that, in this Janma, if I happen to, just hypothetically speaking, achieve Jnana, then that Sanchita Karma, which is lying somewhere else, will also get exhausted. Will also get burnt up.
Correct. The Sanchita Karma is normally along with the Karana Sharira. It is there, always there, but it gets burnt. That's it.
Okay. And Guruji, this whole idea of just doing the act, right? Just being in the moment, doing the act of whatever is required at that moment. It's actually very freeing, right? Especially when we apply all of this knowledge. On certain days, the reflection in your own self is so much more than some other days.
Yeah.
So it's okay, right? we are starting with karma, but we also starting to analyze this karma sannyasa philosophies, and some of it is very. And this same thing happened back when we were listening to chapter 2, right? When we listen very deeply with some of the Atma concepts.
Yeah.
It's something similar to that, right? We have the same feeling, but then again, sometimes we get so. Yeah. So yesterday I felt very good about it, and it kind of allowed me to self-reflect and say that what we stopped dropping all the big aspirations, right? Just do your task nice and well, not think about how it will look afterwards, because many a times it is generally desire driven, right? We want to achieve something. So
Correct.
yeah, that one benefit of late I have been feeling a little bit more than before. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, as you said, it's a kind of a mini liberation for that particular activity. We feel liberated that we are not doing something which will create anxiety in our mind or will create some expectations in our mind. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. Now we'll see again in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.